No, you can't do that.
You can't do that?
I don't think so. I don't think that you can really afford to do it. You just have to pick better. You have to be a little bit more aware of where Scream's going to be. I mean, he's not gonna be ganking duo lane a lot. I mean, no jungler is right now. So you can kind of put more resources into the right side of the map, keep your solo laner alive, give FineOK something that he can box a little bit better with instead of just clear the wave as Hercules.
Sure.
Just change up the picks and bans a little bit. I think that if you ban a Willish here, you're opening up too much for United.
Do you pick a Willish?
I don't know if that's in
Sam
Sam's God pool. Yeah, that's the question.
Here's
You don't want to force it onto a player that might not be as comfortable. And a Willish is one of those characters where you have to be really comfortable.
Yeah. I will say this, though. If you're going to ban the Camazotz, a Wheelish Scream, that's his name. I lost his name for a second, my bad. Scream, his Wheelish is probably just as scary, if not scarier, than his Camazotz.
Sure.
I'd probably ban the Wheelish instead of the Zots.
But there's more you can do against a Willish than Camazotz. And that's why we see the Camazotz ban.
That's true.
Even though it's one of those comfort pick things, Scream's playing at such a high level right now that I don't want to give him any priority pick in that jungle at all.
Well, with the bans all taken care of, a Mighty Storm, KAP0W, now looking for their first pick. You love that, don't you?
Sure, that's what I was thinking, yeah. Exactly that. Mm-hmm.
The first selection for Mighty Storm. Very curious to see who they enable here. Right now, they're probably trying to figure that out, and it's going to be the support, Terra. Terra enables the other players on her team as well.
Right, it's safe. You don't give up too much by going for it. This does give Benji Kakulin, which is pretty scary. Erlong Shen, I thought might be the way that a Mighty Storm was going to go, but that leaves the door open for Serket. And we've seen that counterplay be pretty, that counter pick be pretty prevalent with Erlong Shen coming back into the meta, becoming strong again. Everyone is starting to remember that, oh yeah, Serket kind of destroys Erlong in his ultimate.
Yeah. The problem here for me, as Erlong is locked in for Mighty Storm, is that United, they've proven that their Fire Giant side of the map is entirely, well, one, proficient, but entirely aggressive.
Yes.
And you give Kakulin this is what he does. He is the aggressive solo lane.
But Erlong Shen can kind of handle that. Erlong can hold his own in that sort of regard. You have a lot more pressure as Erlong Shen than you do as Hercules. So this gives FineOK at least an option to play a little bit more up in this lane, play a little bit less underneath his tower, and a little bit less tower dive potential as well, potentially. Now, Kakulin can turn into that transformation, get that big shield, and all of a sudden his tower dive becomes very good, but this is a little bit of a safer matchup this time around for FineOK.
We'll see what the jungle of choice is. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not even sold that Morgan is necessarily going to Veneno a second time. I think it should. He did well.
Sure.
But, you know, when Kakulin's tanking the tower for your Arachne, I don't know how long Erlong Shen is going to live.
Arachne, huh? If that was anyone but United, would that have been the god you would have randomly pulled out of your head?
Absolutely not. But I mean, it's United, man.
Yeah, it's certainly at Scream's god pool.
And I mean, understanding you're a competitor, you feed the hot hand. After last game, Scream gets what he asked for.
Maybe. Have you heard Polar Bear Mike and these guys? Like, you know that there's going to be some sort of back and forth. KAP0W actually agrees with you. They banned Scylla away, and right back to the Awela she goes. Love that pick.
Go for it.
Interesting Scylla ban, man. I really think that even if that's what they were scared of, you don't want to pick it, I suppose, because if you do for Shadow Chair, that's one of his most comfortable characters. Then that Awilish comes into play again, where you could pull him out of that Sentinel.
Vulcan, like this choice, Vulcan can, as the Wheelish aggresses on him, meatball his feet and then punish the Feather Step after the fact. There's immunity frames while she's in the air, but after the fact, she can get knocked up and stop the onslaught of basic attacks. So I like that choice.
Robin as well, just more pressure in that jungle this time for Mighty Storm, which is a good look for them.
And the Xing Qian. Like it. I love it. This is so aggressive. This is what United wants to do. Understanding their own identity and how to take care of KAP0W. When you look across the way, this is going to be a lot of control that they can't deal with.
Plus, not a lot of CC immune ultimates on the side of KAP0W either. Kernanos, Vulcan, Erlong Shen, none of them, Terra even, don't have any CC immunity in that kit. So you have to rely on purification beads. Now, Terra's not going to get thrown by that Whirlwind of Rage and Steel. She'll just get picked up a little bit. And actually, I don't even know if it picks her up whenever she's got a monolith down. But so there's a little bit of counterplay there for Vivian. But Erlong, Kernanos, Vulcan, they all have to be very careful.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And watching them play is so exciting here. Going into the second game, again, one more time. Bonus Smite. postponed from earlier in the week due to an admin decision. And here we are with our 5th match of the day and our final match of the SPL for week number 3. So really excited to see where this one goes. Shadow Chair on that Vulcan, as we said, and PBM on the support, Xing Chen. Even when we see Xing Chen, he's over there in the solo lane. And this time we get to see, not only do we get to see him, hey, what's up, dude, but we also get to see him in the support role.
Really like it here, giving Benji the Kakulin and Xing Chen to Polar Bear Mike, because this puts him more in the thick of things. It puts him in Vedium's face. It puts him in Shadow Chair's face. And Benji gets to play that aggressive god in the solo lane to keep that pressure on the right side rolling for E-United.
E-United, like I said, they've identified what allows them to be successful. The Fire Giant side of the map has to have the pedal to the metal, like the foot has to go through the bottom of the car. And that's what E-United do. Benji and Scream can absolutely make that happen. Final K and Sam for Soccer, looking to push up a little bit, looking for the early invade on that speed buff. Same as E-United on the left side of the map, but looks like speed buff goes to a Mighty Storm, and now they're trying to slow the enemy down. But relic for relic, Benji totally fine. 2 relics for 2 relics on each side. Purification beads used by Scream there as well to get away from that slow. Panda Cat and PBM, meanwhile, on the left-hand side, they got red buff away from a Mighty Storm, so they're going to have a slight experience lead coming in, but with Vivian and Vedium picking up that purple, means they won't be too far behind this thing. Jump forward by both PBM and Panda Cat. Just a little bit extra damage. And this is, I really like where, Sam for Soccer, punishment due. First blood, 1:13 on the clock, nice and early. That is, fool me once, shame on, fool me twice, shame on you. Now, level 1, I agree with the Mighty Storm's idea to invade, because Kakulin level 1, not particularly scary. Sure. You know, Barb Spear, not that sick of an ability, particularly level 1. Now, at level 2, where Benji can transform, you can't fight him at all. Yeah. You cannot fight Kakulin at level 2. You can't fight a Willish at level 2. You can barely fight her at level 1. So that is, in the early game, yeah, you're saying to yourself, yeah, we're Robin and Erlong Shen. How can we not fight? That's a Kakulin and a Willish. Well, now big control as Polar Mike controls with the pancake flip. Nice body blocks on the Vivian as well. Look how he uses the jump to get in front of her again, slowing her step for the moment. Panda Cat going hard. Here he is using the beads aggressively. I wasn't sold that he was jumping backwards, Ryan. No, neither was I. I'm actually kind of surprised that he jumped backwards, but got the shell out from Polar Bear Mike, and more importantly, the purification beads from Vedium. Now, with Panda Cat also using purification beads, not quite as much of a lead, but Hu Yi with much more 1v1 solo potential than the Kurtanos without the purification beads. No beads against Kurtanos. It hurts because then you're running around as a pig for 2 seconds, but not like getting stunned into a Sun's ultimate from Hu Yi that really spells certain death. Small note, but something I want to get your opinion on. We see the Ho Yi with a Death Toll instead of the normal blue stone on this guy. Is this Panda Cat just looking for more aggro? Personal preference. You can really go either way. Blue stone helps you clear a little bit better. Death Toll helps you trade a little bit better. Knowing Panda Cat, he's going to want to trade. Yeah. Plus, Vedium having that innate lifesteal in the kit with the Kurtanos, the shifting of seasons, you can go into that spring form, and then you've got a little bit of innate lifesteal that could push it enough into Vedium's favor that Panda Cat says, I want a little bit more attack speed, which is also a good point because he has low base attack speed on the Hu Yi. No attack speed buff either. It's why we see a lot of Ninja Tabi on Hu Yi's. Yeah, he went Ninja Tabi first item last time. But this gives him a little bit of additional attack speed on top of that. Either way, United certainly looking for a push here, and I want to go back to that dual lane because it's a lot of fun right now how malleable the Smite map is early game. Last game, we saw no invades whatsoever, and we saw a little bit of help as far as where everybody's located. Traditionally, we've seen a lot of supports hang out in the mid lane with the Hunter by themselves. This time around, full invade, dual lane at the go. What brings these different starts around? Is it pure composition? Draft based, yeah, that's basically what it's all about. Plus, you have a little bit of counterplay with the relics as well as Benji continues to play aggressive in this solo lane, putting lots of damage on the final K. He still has that ultimate available, so he's not under too much pressure, but one combo from Scream would probably knock him down before that 9 turns blessing went off. It's entirely composition based when it comes to these invades. It's relics as well. Look at the relics that Sam and Final K went.
on a Mighty Storm. That's Horrific Emblem and Sprint. So you've got two relics that could be used offensively to try and secure some kills. Now Benji also went with the Horrific Emblem to try and counter that, but that's what the Sprint that was there from Final K4. Just some back and forth action that you can really expect whenever when you pick offensive relics like that.
PBN getting a little bit of control as the guys from a Mighty Storm filter into the enemy jungle. Looking for E-United's red buff one more time. Shadow Chair from around the corner. Just going to put down the turret as he sees the Awilish coming through. Nice move by SMITE to avoid the nonsense. Big ultimate out of Vulcan, but it's completely off the mark. Vivian stuck in the suns, slowed down. Here comes Scream over the top. Nice kill for the jungler. That's number 2 for E-United. SMITE. Scream testing himself. Not sure if he would get the kill or not. Airs on the side of caution. I like that play. I
like it from Sam as well. They'll hold it onto it. Now Final K is dueling with Benji, and Benji's 1 HP.
Feather step.
But Final K 0. Scream with that kill. Now 2-0-1.
That's why we see Scream back off. Benji's low HP and he's being chased in the jungle. I think Scream goes for the kill on SMITE if Benji's not in trouble. He goes in response to the teammate. Like that call.
Benji was the one pushing it on the right-hand side, though. He invaded the blue buff and the speed buff as well, using that early pressure that he got for himself, along with Scream on the right-hand side. And again, we talked about it in Game 1. I hear it again in Game 2. 2-level lead for both solo and jungle for E-United so far.
And it's working out flawlessly. This is, again, this is a little bit different. I think in Game number 1, it was just Scream going wherever he wanted and picking up a kill. All right, what's up, guys? I'm here in your lane, killing your dudes. All right, I'm in this lane. I'll pick this one up. Sort of like just hitting the drive-thru every time he came by. This time around, a little bit more brawl-based. We're seeing these 3v3s, these 2v2s in the jungle.
But that's okay by Scream because he still is favored in that sense for now. Now, once Sam gets a little bit more offense online and continues to get levels, that might turn it in his favor a little bit more. But until then, Scream just has so much damage with that Feather Step at this point.
We were talking about attitudes of players before, how Vedium is kind of not the typical hunter because he's so even-keeled, very always just calm. Like that in real life, too. The solo laners always fight me, fight me, fight me, fight me. And watching Final K and Benji here, like the back baiting between each other, a little bit of taunts going on. I like to watch these guys go at it. This is a lot of fun for me.
Do you think that anyone taunts as much as solo laners do?
No. Hard no. Maybe hunters when they're up 7 kills.
Yeah.
But the average solo laner will taunt. It doesn't matter if their team is down 10,000 gold and they're 1-4. They're still taunting you.
I guess you just have to have something to do at times in lane. You know? I mean, solo's not like it used to be where you could play a game of solitaire and still play your lane, but
just solo island.
Yeah, now there's usually a lot more action, but still there's lulls and you're there with your opponent and it's just you and him and you gotta have something to do, right?
Oh, Sam knocked up by the Polar Bear Mike. Nice conversion coming out from the jungler. Not into the kill, just into the crowd control, however. Vivian in a lot of trouble. Just run, buddy. Just run. E-United looking some kind of mean. Here comes Benji looking for Final K. Just dealing the damage, brings him down to about half HP. Still trying to deal with it while the rest of the squad looks for the jungle buff. Now, it's Vivian in trouble. There's the whirlwind of everything. Vivian down for the count. Shadow Chair. He's going to get away for now as Polar Bear Mike jumps in the other direction. Just a hair of HP on that mage. And the 1v1, Final K versus Benji. Benji came in there with all the HP in the world, and Final K took it to him.
Wow, Scream gonna let it go. It's because SMITE's on the way over. That would have been a 1-for-1. And Scream's level 10, whereas both of his opposition are level 8, so that would have been more worthwhile for a Mighty Storm. Wise decision by United's jungler. And that whole fight goes as well as it did for a Mighty Storm, which isn't well, by the way, but they didn't lose more members because of the rotation from Vedium, who continues to try and come over and help this struggling right side of the map.
Yeah.
But he's giving up that even farm that he had with Panda Cat. Now Panda Cat a little bit farther ahead, not by much, but about 250 net gold above Vedium, all because of that rotation that he felt like he had to make to the right.
And I think that exchange is sort of like a microcosm of what a Mighty Storm is dealing with in general. The bracket players, the outside guys, FinoK and Vedium are the dudes leading this squad. These are the two guys that are making things happen. Vedium makes the rotation and alters that fight directly. FinoK alters that fight indirectly by keeping Benji in the lane. These are the two guys that are enabling a Mighty Storm to, as you said, it didn't go perfectly for them, but it went as positively as it did because of those two engagements coming out from the Hunter and the solo lane.
And I really like what FinoK has done here. He picks up Mark of the Vanguard after his boots because Benji went for Mystical Mail. There's so much tick damage coming out of Cucullin, even without Mystical Mail, that Mystical Mark can really, or Mark of the Vanguard, I should say. It's Mystical Mail. It used to be Mystical Mark, for the record.
There you go.
I got there. Don't worry. It's been a long day. This really decreases a lot of the damage that Benji's going to be putting on him. Even though it's physical protection on the Mark of the Vanguard, still take 1 damage off at all those points.
Knock up into the pull. FinoK controlled and bowled for 5 for United. Just so you know, I like controlled and bowled. It rhymes, but I always call that move the toss suku, the bowling ball. So I didn't just make it up because it rhymed.
Oh, I thought you just made it up because it rhymed.
No. It's like, you know, when you go for the knockup with your wheelish tree, it's like a bowling ball. You're like,
I don't see it. It's not ball shaped. It looks like a panther.
But but you throw it just like a bowling ball.
She like spins her spear. And then it comes. It's a spectral jaguar. What makes you think of bowling ball from that?
It looks like a bowling ball.
What do panthers and bowling balls have in common?
I don't know. What?
Nothing. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, well, it sounded like you were setting up a riddle. Right now, Vedium just going to get caught in the middle of everything. No hope for him there. The rotation a little bit late, but I think Polar Bear Mike's going to be safe as well. That was just a well-played machine.
In good patience by Polar Bear Mike, waiting out the purification beast. Benji could be in some trouble. 2v1. Gets hit by that mystical rush, but FinoK is in trouble now because Venenu's here with that transformation.
Scream with a back blink, able to get on the other side one more time. The double kill for the jungle. 6-0-1. 7 out of the 8 kills for E United have involved Scream, and 6 of them belong to him directly. Again with the deep ward placement. United not letting a Mighty Storm feel comfortable whatsoever.
Okay, maybe a Mighty Storm should have banned the I'm there now. Okay, I get it.
It's just the idea. You don't feed the hot hand, and the control that this gives Scream. This is dangerous, and I think that there are personal picks, especially when it comes to players like Scream, that overvalue the quote-unquote meta picks, the more popular stuff. And as a wheelish, I don't think you ban it every time you play against the United, but after game number 1, get me out. I don't want to see it again.
6-0-1 in this one. He's got that Heartseeker again. Plenty of extra damage in the early game. He's up 3 levels, as is Benji. And that's the right side of the map for E United.
That's what they do.
Panda Cat, hasn't looked like himself, quote unquote, because he frankly hasn't needed to. He's just been along for the ride, and that's nothing against Panda Cat, because you don't have to do a lot whenever your right side of the map has been this dominant.
That's the thing, is that Panda Cat, I'm sure he wants some of the kills, but by the time Panda Cat shows up, they're already dead, just like the Gold Fury. Benji's zoning out Vivian and Sam for soccer and the Raven and the Hunter by himself. Just being Cucullin, 14, and everybody else is just sitting there. I can't get past this guy. What do I do?
Venenu and Scream in the mid lane while the rest of the team kind of rotates back to the right-hand side. No Portal Demon look quite yet for E United. Instead, Panda Cat wanted to push that wave underneath the dual lane tower to try and deny some of that farm to Vedium. He's finished off his Executioner way ahead in terms of stacks as well on that Devourer's Gauntlets.
So right now, E United up 8 kills to none. Just about 13.5. And E United almost up that dreaded 10,000 gold mark. 7.5 to be a little bit more precise. This is what we call the downward spiral. You are just... How does a Mighty Storm catch on? Because they have to grab onto something before they just completely go down the rabbit hole.
Now, the good news is that Scream is worth... carry the one, a million gold.
A zillion gold.
If you kill him. Now, he's 6-0-1. He's level 14. So let's say Shadow Chair gets to kill him with an ultimate or something like that. All of a sudden, he's really far ahead. He's pretty close to Venenu right now. Not necessarily in net worth, but at least in experience. That amount of gold for killing someone like Scream or Benji, who have so much farm, is worth a big bounty. So then a Mighty Storm can kind of play around whoever gets those kills. Let's say that those two just go a little bit too hard, a little bit too aggressive.
Which is believable.
Which is certainly believable. All of a sudden, that opens the door for one or two members of a Mighty Storm to get some power items online to try and get themselves and their squad back into the game.
Shadow Chair is so scared right now. Right now, here comes Polar Bear Mike with the pancake flip. Shadow Chair was once standing there, and there's the washing machine toss right into the spectrum of the middle laner. Nice little back. And he's going to be okay under the tower for now. Polar Bear Mike and Venenu still doing what they can.
Venenu using that Kakulin transformation, which isn't too great as the Morrigan because you transform at minimum rage, and so you never really get a chance to go into that transformation form. But with how far ahead Benji is, being level 15, and just having an instant knockup like the human form of Kakulin does with that mystical male tick, not a bad choice for Ben.
Vivian. Oh, he's so scared. You hear that Morrigan stealth and you just, oh no.
Nope.
What do I do?
No, thank you.
I want to get off the ride. The Mighty Storm not enjoying the wild ride at the moment. United just looking so strong. Knocked up, knocked down. Venenu on the good side of this one for United. Still in trouble as Benji on the back end. United likely to topple this tier 1 tower.
See this tiny strip of land between the tier 1 and tier 2? That's Benji's now.
Yes.
He owns that.
That's just me. That's where I live.
Yeah.
You ever play way back when the graffiti mode on Tony Hawk?
Yeah.
Yeah. The entire
great game.
Almost the entire map is red, and then you have this little bit of maybe past the tier 1 tower that's blue.
Yeah, that's where like Vedium just been grinding the whole time. You know?
Vedium is just on like a 2 million, like he's just been wheeling the whole time. Yeah. But meanwhile, you've got Scream that did 7 specials into a nose wheelie, into a 50-50, into a Smith grind, and he's just been chilling on the Casper the entire time.
I played those games and still don't know what almost all of that means. I was going to go with like he hit a 1080. I know that one.
I even said wheelie instead of manual for you.
Oh, manual and wheelie are the same thing?
Oh my goodness gracious.
Really?
You were never that extreme, were you?
Look at me. I would break if I were extreme.
Aggro truly is forehead IRL. That's the absolute
It's not
truth.
wrong.
The group up 5 versus 3. Can they do it? Mighty Storm have the numbers advantage here. Nice choice by Sanford Soccer to go aggressive. And there's the ultimate out of Vivian. But they all get picked up by Polar Bear Mike. And they're all directed directly at one player. Venenu gets polymorphed, but nice immunity to get rid of that nonsense out of the Vulcan. Meanwhile, the split push from Scream is totally fine. The numbers do not matter. 12 kills. There they are for E United. Panda Cat picks up 2 to put a dozen on the board for him and his team. And like I said, Scream, he's not even here.
Benji came home. He was on the right side, and then he returned home to the mid lane where he owns all of that.
Owns that spot.
No one's allowed in the Blink Kakulin. Benji went Gladiator Shield, and now he's going for a Katana, and this is exactly the same sort of build that he went for last game. Defense, defense, defense. Oh, you can't kill me? Okay. Hybrid. A little bit of defense, a little bit of offense.
That's what. So this conversation, as we see United start to siege, this is sort of what we were talking about when you and I sort of went at it with the Height of the Urchin. Once you get a point where you have enough damage, you're like, all right, I'm blowing this guy up sufficiently. I can shift into damage. It's the opposite for Benji. He says, all right, we're ahead by a zillion. Nobody's killing me, so I can shift into an aggressive build without being punished yet.
Especially if that's something like a Mass Immune where he's getting extra protections based on how many people are around him. Everyone's going to be around him, and no one's going to be able to do anything about it.
Now, should this game go into the late end and a Mighty Storm wind up bringing it to that stalemate where everybody's full build, you'll likely see Benji sell some of the aggro items out for the defensive items because that's when everything winds up being even. But if you have a lead, you got to play it. He's unkillable already. Why not help him kill some players as well?
Void Shield and Mass Immune completed in one back.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Scary. Scary. What is that face?
What is that noise?
That was me for like, that's scary.
It scared me.
I was spooked.
So was I by your noise.
What is that voice?
The scared voice, because I got spooked by your noise.
I was spooked, and that spooked you?
Yes.
You're like a little Ratatasker.
You're not the first person to tell me that.
United split up into multiple lanes, and again, playing their lead. Don't forget that last team fight was a 4-on-1 because Scream was split pushing the entire time. They understand that they can take these 3-on-5s, and they're doing so diligently. The only Phoenix alive right here is on the right side. United doesn't even look like they're too concerned with it.
No.
Venenu's just chilling. Venenu's waiting on the right side, but it's all about, I was juked. That was the clone. It's all about the Titan. Half HP already on the main objective. Panda Cat being collapsed on. Here comes Polar Bear Mike to help out, but Panda Cat don't need no help. He gets the double EUN. Benji puts number 15 on the board for United, and it's a 2-0 above a Mighty Storm. A wonderful